Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the conference with Le Cercle des Langues. Today we have a topic that is very close to my heart. It is called Discovering South Africa. So I'm Chanel, and I will be taking you through this conference. I am South African. I was born in South Africa, and I've lived in France for 2 years. So I really enjoy this. I'm really going to enjoy this conference tonight. Just some administration. After the conference, you will be sent the slideshow via PDF. And if you have any questions, please keep them either in the chat or on a piece of paper, because for the last 5 minutes of the conference, I will be doing a question and answer, or you are allowed to give comments or any of your thoughts on the conference. So for the conference, please note that this is a B1, B2 level conference. Okay? So give me 2 seconds. I am going to share the screen again and we are going to continue. Okay, as I've said, I'm just going to please make sure that your microphones are muted. I will make sure on my side as well. Wonderful. So let's begin. Okay, so discovering South Africa, level B1 to B2. In today's conference, we have 4 parts. We are going to have a small introduction on South Africa, a little bit of its history. We are then going to talk about language and culture. We are then going to speak about wildlife and the landscape. As you know, South Africa is a big tourist destination. So we are going to talk about what makes it attractive to the world. And the 4th part of today's conference will be the conclusion. Before we begin, we are going to have some vocabulary that you will see throughout the conference. The first thing the word we'll see is surrounds, so c'est entoure. Plains, les plaines, so it speaks about the land. Displaced, déplacé. Segregation, ségrégation. Dismantle, démanteler. Proficiency, c'est compétence. Indigenous, indigène. Game animals, c'est animaux sauvages. Inhabited, so habité. Ecosystems, écosystème. And a semi-arid region, so région semi-aride. So let's begin with introducing South Africa. So South Africa, the southernmost country of the African continent, South Africa is bordered by Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, and Eswatini. South Africa entirely surrounds Lesotho in the east. So a large plateau dominates the center of the country, with rolling hills falling to plains and the coast. The size approximately of South Africa is 1.22 million kilometers squared. So if you imagine, that's almost 2.2 times bigger than France, with a population currently of 59.39 million people. I think as of 2023, it's close to 62. So here we've got a diagram of South Africa, and as you can see, we've got Namibia, and we've got Botswana, Zimbabwe, and what is known as Mozambique, and Eswatini. These are the countries that surround South Africa. We have some of the major cities, Johannesburg being the center, right next to Pretoria, Bloemfontein, Cape Town, and Kruger, which is also known as Durban. We are surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean on the left and the Indian Ocean on the right. So when we look at a timeline of South Africa, it dates back to close to over 100,000 years. So 100,000 years ago, our history starts with hunter-gatherers, the communities that existed in what is now South Africa. In the Iron Age, we then looked at the introduction of iron tools in the east of South Africa, and they then made the transition to mixed farming, combining crop cultivation and livestock raising. A big part of our history, on the right-hand side, you can see there is a cave drawing which there are many that still exist in South Africa today, which allows you to see a little bit into our past as a country. When we look at exploration and the colonization of South Africa, we start in the late 15th century when Portuguese sailors passed the Cape of Good Hope. In 1652, the Dutch then established a colony led by Jan van Riebeeck, which was initially known as a supply base. In 1658, we have the Dutch start importing slaves to South Africa, and we have the gradual expansion of the Dutch colony. In the 18th century, we see the arrival of the French Huguenots, which were the Protestant refugees. That was around 1688. And in 1713, we had the smallpox epidemic, which caused significant loss of life among the native people. Around the 19th century, so we're looking at early 1800s, there was a conflict between the colonists known as the Boers, or in Afrikaans we call it the Boers, and indigenous communities. In 1815 to 1840, we had a king, a Zulu king by the name of Shaka Zulu, which he established the Zulu kingdom. In 1835 to 1846, we have what is known as the Great Trek, which was the Boers migrating away from the British-controlled areas. In 1867, we had the discovery of diamonds in Kimberley, which led to a mining boom in South Africa. In 1879, we have the Anglo-Zulu War. What you can see on the right, we have arrows that are moving from the bottom right to the top, and that shows the path of the Great Trek, which is how they moved across South Africa to find a new settlement. In the 20th century, around 1910, we had the Union of South Africa, which was formed, bringing together various colonies. From 1948 to 1994, we have one of the hardest periods in South Africa's timeline, known as the apartheid era, which was institutionalized racial segregation. In 1960, it marked the Sharpeville massacre and the banning of the African National Congress. In 1990, we have President F.W. de Klerk, who began to dismantle apartheid. And in 1994, we had the first democratic election when Nelson Mandela became president. In the 21st century, we see South Africa in 2010, South Africa hosted the FIFA World Cup. And we have ongoing challenges related to economic inequality, social issues, and political dynamics. So after we see the timeline and the history of South Africa, we start to move more into what is South Africa about and all the languages, because we start with South Africa, which is known for its ethnic and cultural diversity. Almost all South Africans speak English to some degree of proficiency, in addition to their native language, with English acting as the lingua franca in commerce, education, and government. South Africa has 11 official languages, but other indigenous languages are spoken by smaller groups, chiefly Khoisan languages. So, of those 11 official languages, we can see why South Africa is a multicultural and extremely diverse country, because we have cultures stemming from all of the rich heritage of South Africa. So let's talk about the 11 official languages. I will pronounce them for you. I do not speak all of these languages. I speak Afrikaans and English. So that's the first two official languages of South Africa. And in no particular order, because all languages carry the same weight, the same political weight in South Africa. None is more important. It just so happens that English is the widest spoken in South Africa. So in number one, we've got Afrikaans. We then have English. We have isiNdebele. We have isiXhosa. We have isiZulu. We have Sesotho, Setswana, Siswati, Tsivenda, Tsonga, and Sepedi. And those are the 11 official languages of South Africa. The Rainbow Nation. South Africa is often referred to as the Rainbow Nation due to its diverse and multicultural society, and the term was coined by Archbishop Desmond Tutu in the early 1990s during South Africa's transition from apartheid to democracy. We are now going to look at one of the beautiful parts of South Africa, and that is our wildlife and our landscape. South Africa is known for its Big Five, and it's famous for being one of the best places in the world where you can spot these animals. These Big Five animals are known as the lion, the elephant, the buffalo, the leopard, the rhinoceros. These iconic species are often the focus of wildlife safaris in the country. When we look at the Big Five, unfortunately, there is one of these five that are on the endangered species list, and that is the rhinoceros. We did have a threat of having the lion go extinct, but they are no longer on the endangered species list. So now South Africa is doing its utmost to protect the rhinoceros against illegal poaching. We are also popular for other mammals. In addition to the Big Five, South Africa is home to various other mammals, including cheetahs, giraffes, zebras, hippos, crocodiles, and various antelope species, and many more. The Kruger National Park, one of Africa's largest game reserves, is particularly renowned for its diverse mammal population. So at the bottom, you see five beautiful images of the animals that are South African or common to South Africa. We've got the crocodile, and we've got a beautiful animal called a kudu. That is the second animal with the beautiful horns. And an interesting fact about the kudu, the older the kudu, the longer its horns become. So that is a close to fully grown adult kudu. As you can see that his horns spiral 3 times. We then have the hippopotamus, the cheetah, and the giraffe. We are also quite known for our marine life. So the country's extensive coastline is home to diverse marine life. The seas around South Africa are inhabited by species such as dolphins, seals, sharks, and various species of whales, including the humpback whales and southern right whales. On the right-hand side, you can see an image of some of our greatest marine life, and we start with the great white shark. We then have the southern right whale. We have the bride's whale as well, the humpback whale, the humpback dolphin, the bottlenose dolphin, the Cape fur seal, the African penguin, the cormorant, and the Cape gannet, popular to the Cape. South Africa is also home to a host of different bird life. South Africa boasts a rich bird life with numerous species inhabiting different regions. The country is a haven for bird watchers, and you can find species like ostriches, eagles, vultures, and a variety of waterfowl. So, on the right hand side, we have a beautiful image of an ostrich, one of the biggest birds, land birds to date. Let's look at some of our landscapes. Below, you can see a picture of Table Mountain. Dominating the skyline of Cape Town, Table Mountain is a flat-topped mountain that offers breathtaking views of the city and the surrounding coastline. Table Mountain and Cape Town are also a very rich popular destination for tourists where many flock to each year to either go swimming with the dolphins, swimming with sharks, and to climb the beautiful Table Mountain. Another popular landscape is the Drakensberg Mountains and was used during the Great Trek. So it is known that with the Great Trek, they actually went over the Drakensberg Mountains to get to what is now known as Pretoria. The Drakensberg Mountains, this mountain range, often referred to as the Dragon Mountains, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It features stunning landscapes, including dramatic cliffs, waterfalls, and lush valleys. It's a beautiful hiking spot for many tourists that love to spend time close to the mountains. One of my personal favorites, it is known as the Kruger National Park. One of Africa's most famous wildlife reserves, Kruger National Park spans 19,485 kilometers squared and is home to an incredible diversity of animals and ecosystems, from savannas to forests. And every year they have a show of different animals, and it is absolutely incredible to see. We then have the Great Karoo. The Great Karoo is a semi arid region known for its wide open spaces, unique rock formations, and interesting plant life adapted to arid conditions. On the right hand side, you can see self sufficient trees that are born, they survive in extremely hot conditions with little to no water, and it's something that the Karoo is known for. The Cape Winelands. This region, including places like Stellenbosch and Franschhoek, so we are still in Cape Town, it's famous for its picturesque vineyards, charming towns, and of course, world class wine production. So you can see the mountain range in the back, it's the Cape Mountains, and it's often known for its wine tasting, which is something that Cape Town is very well known for. Another beautiful site in South Africa is Blyde River Canyon. This canyon is one of the largest green canyons in the world, offering stunning views of cliffs, waterfalls, and lush vegetation. South Africa's diverse wildlife and landscapes make it a top destination for nature lovers and safari enthusiasts, offering a chance to experience the beauty and the biodiversity of the African continent. And on the right hand side, you can see a wonderful image that represents the top of the Blyde River Canyon, and you have the river that runs right through it, and it is still as green as it is today. It's still as green as that. So, in conclusion, our journey through South Africa's stunning landscapes and diverse wildlife has shown us a country of extraordinary beauty. From the famous Table Mountain to the wild Kruger National Park, South Africa is a place of natural wonders where you can see animals like the Big Five and the colorful birds. But it's not just about the scenery. South Africa is also warm and welcoming, with friendly people and a mix of traditions from different parts of the country. As we wrap up this conference, let's remember the beauty of South Africa, the amazing landscapes and the diverse cultures that make it special. This conference is a reminder of the invitation South Africa extends to explore a nation that leaves a lasting impression on those lucky enough to discover its wonders. So thank you so much for watching today's conference. Unfortunately, there are no exercises on South Africa on the platform, but this one was mainly just for information purposes and to share with you a wonderful country. So does anyone have any questions or any comments to make on South Africa? Please feel free to, you are more than welcome to open up your microphones to put them on if you would like. Sylvie, you lived in South Africa.
I live in South Africa. You remember me a lot of things.
Yes, I do. For 15 years. Tell us
Yeah.
about your experience of South Africa when you were there.
I've been to the Table Mountain.
Yes. And how was it?
Oh, I don't really remember. I was too young.
Yes. So,
But when I see everything that you write in South Africa, there's many place that I don't know and I don't remember because the name of the country I don't remember.
You don't remember the names? Yes, but I mean, I can definitely understand. So, Janceline wants me to talk about, so Janceline has asked a question. She asked, could you please talk about the social situation nowadays? So, unfortunately, at the moment, it's a bit of a tricky situation because we still see the imbalance of apartheid. Unfortunately, now the government now it's slightly reversed because in trying to create the balance with what apartheid created, we have moved to trying to supplement it on the other side, which has created racial tension in the reverse. So, unfortunately, South Africa is still dealing with that tension. Um, I think hopefully, if we think about it, apartheid is not really old. 1994 was not really that long ago in terms of a country's growth. So we are trying to find the balance to get back to an equal footing in terms of all the different communities that exist in South Africa. We have not reached it yet, and I'm hoping that one day we will find the solution. It's very interesting. Could you show us another conference about cooking? I will definitely tell Francesco that you would like a conference on cooking. Because of the multiculturalism of South Africa. There's such a diverse amount of food. It's amazing. For an interesting fact, there's a wonderful restaurant in Nîmes. That's a South African restaurant. Sylvie has gone, and we had a wonderful time. So no,
Chanel, can you speak? Chanel, can you speak just a little bit South Africans? Africans.
Afrikaans. Ja, ik kan
Yes.
praten. Mijn naam is Chanel. Ik woon in Frans, weet je nou? Frans, ik is 30 jaar oud. Mijn familie is van Zuid-Afrika af. Yeah, so that's some of the Afrikaans that I still remember. I don't want to lose the language, but because I speak French most of the time, it's the Afrikaans language. So my absolute pleasure. Does anyone have any other questions? No, my absolute pleasure. It's Zuid-Afrikaans. Yes,
Yeah,
it's
excuse
Zuid-Afrikaans.
me, Chandler, I made a mistake with my chat. Just a question.
Yes,
You are speaking your mother tongue, I think.
yes,
It look like Dutch, Netherlands.
it is. It is
Yeah, yeah,
Afrikaans.
yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
absolutely. You are right.
But
So, uh,
how many percent inside?
how many percent of the people speak Dutch?
No, 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 no. The part of the Netherlands language into your Afrikaans language. How
Oh
many
my
percent?
goodness, that's a very interesting question. So, in fact, when we look at the history of Afrikaans, I don't really, yes, because that's quite a dynamic. So, I don't know about the percentage per se, but the
Hmm?
Afrikaans language was a West Germanic language of South Africa, developed from the 17th century Dutch, something
Hmm.
called Netherlandic by the descendants of European. So, you're looking at Dutch, German, and French colonists. And then the indigenous Khoisan people. So you're looking at, and I'm actually going to put this in the chat for you so that you can see. So that is where it comes. That's the history.
Okay, what Germany country? Okay.
Okay, so that when you look at that, it's incredible. So I'm not quite sure the percentage, but you're looking at basically a language from four different parts four different languages that came together.
German and French as well. Okay.
Okay, and it's actually something quite interesting because um, Afrikaans, if I have a Dutch speaker, I can actually understand what they're saying.
Not me.
Not you. So we have another question from Jean-Celine, and she asks, "What's the better season to visit the country?" So it's actually in February. So the best season in February because it's summer, but our summer season starts in November and it goes all the way up to about February. And the problem is that it gets very hot. So if you go in February, then it's enjoyable. You can really enjoy it. It's quite beautiful. Are there any other questions? No? Good. Wonderful. So thank you everybody for joining
Thank
me
you.
in
Trial.
South Africa. And I hope that it was very informative. And I hope to see you there soon for a holiday or
Trial.
for a vacation. So thank you everyone and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.